So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in. As we were waiting for others due to technical issues, we shared with each other, how 2016 really blessed us. Um, Honestly, I felt a bit humiliated, because all of you were talking about this year, how you met me, this person, as you know, Narmada Akshat, and how you followed the teachings and everything. But again, a part of me said that you really have to own it. You really have to own that inner seduction, that divine charm that these beings are offering to you, you know, and you really have to own it. You really have to accept it. This appreciation of divine gratitude, of and let go of the false humility, you know. So it is fascinating. This 2016 was the year of life purpose. The year was guided by the presence of Archangel Michael. Um, and of course, it was pretty tough ride. For me, whenever I'm taking a class or organizing a long workshop, I really have to go through it. I mean, really, really physically through it to bring forth the teachings, like the pearl deep in the ocean. This 2016, I think we started with the Black Ray class, 120 days of class, and we have reached like 70 days. There are 50 more days to finish it yet. A part of me really knew that we won't be able to finish those 120 days, even an entire year, because we really had to experience the blackness, the contrast, and really allow the birthing. And the birthing is not easy if not properly prepared, so to speak, right? So I had to go through my own transitions and transformations, and in the process, feeling the fleshing, FLESH, fleshing of this divine one within into the physical world. And perhaps that's what many of us in the group, not only who met this body in this year, but they have been knowing us from past 8 years through the online work, you've been experiencing a major transformation, a major change, right? The year 2017 would be a lot of Lord Ganesha archetype, the son of Shiva and Shakti. The year 2017 would be a lot about manifestation and sowing the seeds. However, this year is going to be very, very demanding, very, very productive in nature. And the thing is, just a second, I'm going to mute everyone else. Okay, everyone's muted. So this year, 2017, is going to be a lot about Ganesha archetype, very demanding, a lot of prosperity definitely for a lot of us. However, if you haven't yet learned to align the energies of the heaven and the earth, the yin and the yang, skillfully, especially since 2012, it was not just a work of 1 year, but 2012, it is going to be a tough year. Um, it's like it's the energies are going to literally, quote unquote, force you to embody this newness. You know, this year, I think it's going to be overlighted by the presence of the Archangel of Illumination, the Holy Archangel Uriel, the Angel of Wisdom, the Angel of Clarity. I believe that is the being. I'm not so sure which angel is going to uh, guide or be the guardian of this particular year. Last year, I mean 2016, was the Archangel Michael, and of course the dolphin frequencies to keep the fun alive, the humor alive in major, major, major transitions. So today we are for our last love yoga session of this year. I would have loved to carry on these sessions this year until the end of this year, but no, I think I really have to see to my schedule and fix the priorities. So we already had a bit of gap. So here we are, and today's topic is the power of inner seduction or charm. In a very interesting manner, this again is all about Lord Krishna's energy and of course Aphrodite's, and I'm finding some powerful changes within my own physical reality as well as we are working with Aphrodite. It is very fascinating to work with Aphrodite because you're literally never forced, and even when you feel that you haven't been able to do the inner transformation work, quote unquote, that skillfully, and you want to go on a guilt ride, Aphrodite is still beaming out love to you. And that is fascinating. That is really opening of the heart chakra. Aphrodite's agenda is really not about uh, achieving any goals, really. It's all about love. That's it. It's love, simple. We try to explain it, we try to understand it, and we try to um, bring it into words. The 12 Olympian gods that they have talked about in the Greek tradition, they are known as gods, but they also have human-like qualities. And they were also known to rule particular cities, like Athens was supposed to be ruled by a goddess Athena, the goddess of wisdom. Now, there could be two possibilities. One is they could be really physical human beings like you and me who worked out their way to achieve some fantastic results of inner alchemy and quote unquote became gods, right? The second could be they were already um, highly evolved awakened beings who were supposed to guide humanity. There could be two possibilities. But in any way, they are definitely powerful sources of inspiration, powerful sources of wisdom and transformation. In the Roman and Greek tradition, also in the Roman tradition, you really had to work with one deity. You cannot work with all of deities. You really had to work with one deity in order to, one major deity, I must say, in order to bring forth transformation as a leader, as a king or the queen, as an emperor of your civilization, of wherever you started your dynasty or uh, the reign, REIGN, the timing of your rule. So as the years are progressing, it seems that Aphrodite is still going to play a major, major role, at least in my own life, in our work, for the next many, many, many years. At least not more, at least 30 years, at least of that. So let us begin our call with our meditation. Yes, you can hear the horn, the of the train. It's the call. It's as usual the wonderful trees and the wonderful fog. And there's actually some kind of construction work going on. Some of you are aware of the angelic architecture I was channeling. Um, I did work with a bit. I have installed some of the grids in this home. However, as you're aware, my sister recently shifted to this home, so the quote unquote standards are pretty high. I mean, how you're supposed to keep your home, how everything, almost everything should be kept in order, etc., etc. So I decided to drop off that project and although continue to learn and bring to you the angelic architecture somewhere later, okay? In the month of January, we're going to send you a formal invite. We have already asked you the Heal Your Life, the Love Yourself workshop. If you cannot find the Love Yourself workshop details, I'll be sending out the details very soon. And the last class that we're going to have this year, apart from the Love Yoga session that is for public, is for December the 30th. It's going to be a 2-day workshop with Lord Ganesha's energy and some chants of light. I think I'm pretty much updated about almost everything. Regarding private sessions, some of you have booked private sessions, some of you are waiting for private sessions. Only in the month of January we can carry on by now. And some of you asked me about the personal website. I still need to figure that out. I still need to learn. I think I'll start with the blogging first. That would be an interesting journey for a beginner like me there. All right. Some of you asked me about the MP3s, the new MP3s of the Healing Temple protocols. There are many, many offline protocols available by now. You can go to the file section of the group and see there. And regarding the MP3s, they'd be coming at their own time because, the projects that our human minds think that it should be done by now, These projects have their own energies. They wait for the right time. It is like you as a soul waiting for the right time of incarnation and then creating astrological alignment with the universe. They say we choose the time, the alignment of the planets whenever we are born, just as we left our evolution in our previous birth. We choose our time alignment of the different planets in a new body, just as we left our evolution in the previous birth. So we kind of carry on. It's almost like a series to be continued in the earth plane. It is really a blessing to be living in this earth plane, in this three-dimensional plane filled with pain, sorrow, and suffering, and light and dark, and polarity, and happiness and sorrow, and everything, and tragedy and comedy. Because this is where, first of all, our faith is tested. We really have to grow. We work, and the karma is released very, very um, rapidly in big amounts. So be always smart to work with forgiveness, to work with compassion for yourself and others. And if you really feel that you have to do something about it, talking about quote unquote divine justice, then you pray a lot and consult maybe with someone who is on the same path with you, and then take the action if so needed. You know, it's fascinating to work here. Even highly evolved yogis choose to retain their bodies um, in this dimension to burn off karma and achieve moksha or liberation or complete ascension, what in the Sanat Master teachings they call it as um, the seventh level of initiation. And what Aphrodite is referring to right now, she says it is being infused with love at the first stage. It is just a sprouting, which we call as the complete liberation. There are still many, many realms and dimensions to be traveled through. All right, so let us begin our call with a short invocation to the Supreme Essence, Divine Father and Divine Mother, our spiritual teachers, all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, holy saints, holy archangels, holy angels, beings of light, and all the great, great, great ones. We humbly invoke for divine guidance, divine love, illumination, divine oneness, abundance, peace, prosperity, spirituality, harmony, inner healing, divine help, and divine protection. We thank you in full faith. With your eyes still closed, allowing yourself to hear this chant of light, to rapidly prepare the grid today, the very, very special grid, the last love yoga session of this year, celebrating our togetherness, our meeting again in this lifetime, our journey together, and more. And of course, celebrating the coming of journeys as well. Please sing along as you hear this chant. It's very simple, encoded with light information. The entire universe is made of divine sound. When we connect with these chants of light, we allow ourselves to download information through all the cells and all particles of our being, traveling beyond timelines and more, directly into our soul. Ooh. Oh, and let us visualize this beautiful golden star coming down from the heavens, merging with our hearts, illuminating our whole bodies from the inside out, transmitting to us the frequencies of self love, the ability to love ourselves royally, unconditionally, as divine beings that we are in this physical body. Let this beautiful golden starry light beam through all of your cells, every particle of your being. Let it travel through all dimensions of time, past, present, future, and parallel. And as you continue to sense this divine light beaming from your heart to the entire creation, please sing along. I learned a song in school time, and I think it's some kind of a traditional song. As you continue to beam this light through you, please sing along. The ego might come up and say, "Oh, you are not having a very good voice." Don't worry, you're not being recorded right now. At the same time, you are free to sing as you like. Allowing ourselves to sing as we like is a powerful way to open our throat chakras. It's a powerful way to open up our creativity. It's something that Isis taught me as she was transmitting to me the chant of light teachings. Okay. Holding the vision of the sacred light beaming through you, let us add now sound to the light. This little guiding light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little guiding light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little guiding light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, all the time, let it shine. This little guiding light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little guiding light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bush, no, no. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bush, no, no. I'm gonna let it shine. This little guiding light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, all the time, let it shine. Hide it under a bush, no, no. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bush, no, no. I'm gonna let it shine. This little guiding light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. All the time, let it shine. For most of us, we tend to dim down our light. We tend to embody this false humility, So interestingly, that we close ourselves to our own potential, to our own infinite awareness of who we are. We limit ourselves with our own stories of trauma, whatever happened in the past, of how we are as a human, to where we are married, to where we are born. We limit our stories. Whatever story that we tend to remind ourselves regularly, or we believe that we are as a body, is a very, 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 very 0.000001% of who we are. The point of bringing in this love to transform our DNA and to what Aphrodite says, becoming superhumans, is to really allow this love to beam through our cells, beam through our hearts, beam through our throats, beam through our eyes, beam through our thoughts, beam through our consciousness more and more and more. That's where we start to recognize who we are. And then when we operate from this level of consciousness, which many call as the higher self consciousness or the God self consciousness, life in the physical body becomes much more easier, much more graceful. We invite you, all of you, to integrate the sacred teachings of love yoga and bring in these frequencies of love and grace, not only in your life, but also in the lives of those you touch. A full deep breath, returning back to your body. We tend to dim down our light because we think it might scare anyone, everyone. Especially as children, we do that. But no, you're not required to dim down your light. Fully breath and take your time to come back. Today's sacred topic is the power of inner seduction or charm. What is charm, by the way? Charm is usually defined, some people define charm as magic, being spellbound, spellbinded. Some people define charm as something that is attractive. If you look into the stories of Venus or Aphrodite, it is filled with tremendous charm. It is filled with tremendous attraction. Many, many, many stories of different love affairs. I'm not in the exact position to say that it actually happened or not, nor do I even care about it, because what I am most concerned with Aphrodite is about embodying this divine frequency of love. That's it. As we shared before, when we were discussing the birth of Aphrodite, there were so many legends and stories, but these legends and stories are so much symbolical in nature. It's very difficult to define or understand which one actually meant as a quote unquote real story, so to speak. You know, Aphrodite was known to be the, or is known to be the most attractive and most beautiful woman on the planet, even in the heavens. Although Aphrodite was married to Hephaestus, Aphrodite was aware and knew that she could have any man she wanted. I think one of her major affairs was with Ares, Ares, and Ares is the god of war. It's very interesting. She's the goddess of love and beauty, and Ares is the god of war. Again, somehow the yin yang balance. Some people say that Aphrodite was so attractive and beautiful because of her physical presence. Every time if you Google Aphrodite, you're shown with a beautiful woman and, having all those divine qualities in the physical body. But actually, if you look into the essence of Aphrodite, it is something else. It is the gentleness, the softness. That is her secret of seduction or charm. In the story of Lord Krishna as well, by the way, the name Krishna means the one who attracts, the attractive one. Krishna is shown dancing with the gopis and so much more. There are all kinds of stories and all kinds of understandings. Some say that Krishna was involved in a tantric sexual manner with the gopis. Some say that he wasn't involved. There are many, many theories to it. But again, we really don't concern ourselves with that much. What we're again, if you're connecting with the energies of Krishna, we're really wanting to connect with the love, with the guidance, with the knowledge, um, with the divine qualities of Krishna. In a similar manner, when I want to connect with Aphrodite, it's really not about, you know, with how many number of people she went out or something like this. It's more about the frequency of love. Perhaps when we really meditate, you all have been meditating with us in the Love Yoga sessions, and you're now quite aware that Aphrodite's frequency is really something different, as perhaps what you were taught or ever read. For me, it was never possible to connect with Aphrodite. It was very easy to connect with the angelics, with the holy gurus or teachers, and different spiritual movements and even symbols. But whenever in meditation, whenever Aphrodite, and I think it's her brother, Apollo, the god of the sun, whenever they came to in my consciousness, wanting to tune in to the energies, I always blocked them. I always thought that they are just sexual beings and nothing more. They might deviate my pathway, but it didn't happen like this until I started to, keep a bit more open mind and start to experiment with them. Apollo brought forth so much of third eye activation and awareness of the psychic and intuitive realms. Aphrodite brought forth so much understanding of Lord Krishna's energy and also about the universe in general. So you all have been meditating with us, and you're all quite aware that working with Aphrodite is pretty safe, right? So the inner seduction, the power of inner seduction. What this means is inner seduction. Well, this inner seduction is all about being seduced by the divine one within, really. Seduction, if you really look from a regular perspective, is really about being so much sexually attractive or being so much sexually powerful that the other person gives up, and surrenders to you. That's what seduction means usually, right? And when we say inner seduction, this inner seduction means being seduced by the divine one within, being seduced by the frequency of love that we are. There's one story, I think it was a Trailanga Swami story, the great yogi of the Banaras who lived for 300 plus years, very miraculous being. Um, I think it belongs to him, and if not, then someone else. But as to my memory, I think this belongs to Trailanga Swami. So Stalanga Swami actually used to walk naked around, as a baby. He had this consciousness of being the divine baby, and he would walk around. And I think it was one day that a lady complained about him in the police station that this man is uncultured and uncivilized, and he's walking around naked, and so and so. So he was warned by the police that you gotta wear some clothes, otherwise we are going to put you in jail. To which he didn't agree. There was nothing wrong in his consciousness to, hey, what's wrong with my body that I need to put on clothes? Anyway, so he was put inside the jail. And every time he was put inside the jail, he would either be found outside the jail every time he was locked or above the jail. So they tried for like 4 or 5 times at least, and then they gave up. Then they say, we are so sorry, Divine Yogi, to disturb you. And after that, however, he agreed and he started to put a covering around his pelvic region. So one day, someone asked this great yogi and said, you were nothing, you own nothing, and you really have renounced the world for God. And he laughed and chuckled and said, I don't think I'm a great yogi or a great renunciate. I think all of you so called householders are great yogis and renunciates. I'm just paraphrasing, okay? I don't remember the exact words. He said, all of you householders are great yogis and great renunciates. And the other person said, how? And he said, because God is all providing, God is everything. God is all providing, God is everything, and God is the provider of all, and you have renounced God for so few things, or so tiny things like gold or jewelry or money or property or sex or things like this. They're all valuable, but God is more valuable. I'm still clinging on to God. So, in that sense, you are the ones who are more of a higher renunciates. The story truly talks about how, as a human being evolves into surrender to the divine, some powerful things happen in the DNA. There was one great saint in the West, Saint Teresa of Avila. She was known to go into so much of ecstasy for God that at times she would literally levitate. There have been many written accounts and proofs of her. She was recognized as one of the doctors of Christianity. Doctors of Christianity, well, there are considered to be 30 saints in the past who were known to bring forth the Christian doctrine, um, and it was kind of accepted officially by the quote unquote religion. In some of her poems, she talks about that all we need is God alone. And I think it was Paramahamsa Yogananda or his direct disciple Swami Kriyananda who transformed her poem into a song. And it was something like this. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things are changing, God changes not. Let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you. All things are changes, God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone is all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Recognizing God in every particle of creation, in every being of your family, whether you get along with them or not, in every so called friend, in every so called enemy. Once we recognize God in our business, in money, in meditation, in bathing, whenever you're bathing, recognizing that I'm having a shower, I'm cleaning the temple of God. If you're getting intimate with your partner, then perhaps recognizing that I'm getting intimate with this God being within this body. So once we let go of the illusion of separation that God is something separate, God is only found in meditation. I was in the separation for many, many years. I thought I just need to meditate and then I would lose the high of meditation most of the time. But once my guides transmitted to my consciousness that allow yourself to be seduced by the divine totally, that you are totally intoxicated with God, with love, that whatever you're doing it as an act of service to God. Once it started to happen, my life began to transform. And once you start to embody this consciousness within you as well, it will happen. So I don't think we need to talk more about inner seduction or charm. The power of inner seduction or charm can be translated as we reach the end of our discussion here, end of our discourse, is the power of being one with God, the power of being one with love. Let us go into beautiful transmission. We started 10 minutes late, so we're going to go like 8, 10, something like this. So let us go into a powerful transmission where we allow ourselves to be seduced by the divine one within and allow ourselves to be surrendered, to be more available for the Spirit to work through us. Allowing yourself to close your eyes. All things are changes, God changes not. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Let nothing disturb you, nothing afraid you. All things are changing, God changes not. Patient endurance brings you to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. God alone, God alone, God alone's all we ever need. Bring awareness to your breath, becoming aware of the ever abundant breath that you have.